Alrighty, welcome back to another one of my short Skyblock speedruns. In today's video, I speedran maxing out not one, but 3 entire collections, which for this video, I chose the Seed, Sand, and Netherrack collections. I've wanted to do a collection maxing speedrun for some time now, but the dilemma that I always ran into was that the speedrun would have been too easy. But then I thought to myself, why don't I just go for more collections then? So that's exactly what I ended up doing. However, before I show you how it went, this whole video was streamed live over on my Twitch, so if you'd like to see the full process of how these speedruns are actually complete, the links are down in the description below. But with all of that being said, let's get straight into the video. Hopping straight into a brand new profile, I collected a single oak log off of my island to prepare for the later stages of this run. I was going to need 2 tools in today's speedrun, a golden pickaxe and a golden shovel. These tools were going to enable me to max out 2 of the 3 collections I had planned for this run, but for the first collection off the start here, I technically didn't need any tools at all. This is because I was going to max out the seeds collection, so after collecting my rogue sword from Jamie, I went over to the wheat farms to get some early game coins. Once I had slightly leveled up my farming skill and a few collections, I ran over to the farming merchant to purchase myself a rookie hoe. Technically, this step was optional, but because the perk of the rookie hoe is to provide a 50% chance to drop a seed after breaking a crop, this in theory should ever so slightly boost the amount of seeds we get, and thus speed up the process to max out this collection. There is a chance that the hoe doesn't even work properly on some crops though, but regardless, even if it doesn't help when farming wheat, the item costs basically nothing and the detour didn't waste much time either. Now that we had the rookie hoe in our possession though, the next step was to simply break wheat until the 5,000 seed mark, where I'd move on to the next steps of the run and prepare for the second collection. This part of the run went as you'd expect. I just farmed wheat, sold my inventory when it filled, swapped lobbies, farmed more wheat, and I repeated this cycle 4 times until I maxed out the seeds collection. However, on my first cycle of farming crops, I realized that I unlocked the collection for the farming talisman. At first glance, this talisman seems pretty pointless, and to most people, having 10% more speed on the farming islands isn't really that much of a help. However, because 2 of the 3 collections that I was actually going to max out were both done on farming islands, I ended up crafting one basically as soon as I unlocked it, since I figured that it would have been a worthwhile investment to make one of these early on in the run, because the extra 10% speed whilst on the farming islands definitely contributed towards 2 of the 3 collections in this speed run. However, with the seed collection officially acquired, I made my way over to the merchant area in front of the coal mines and I got started with gearing up. Since this speedrun was a lot simpler than some of my previous, I only needed to make 1 trip to the merchants as long as I got everything that I needed before getting started with the next 2 collections. First up, of course, was going to be the golden pickaxe and the golden shovel, followed up by a full set of starter iron gear. The growth enchant really is just there for flashy looks because I wasn't actually going to unlock the enchanting level to use it, but at least having some kind of armor was going to give me just that extra bit of defense, which would help my survivability later on. Then I talked to the weaponsmith and I bought myself an undead sword, and I headed over to the librarian to acquire all the enchants and XP bottles I was going to need. I bought 4 efficiency books and 16 smite books, 60 enchantment bottles, and then I headed to the blacksmith's anvil to enchant all of my gear. As I only needed efficiency 2 on the pickaxe and the shovel, I applied those first. And then I applied smite 5 to my undead sword after that. The last step of the gearing up process was to quickly achieve mining 1 and head straight to the gold mines, because this way we could apply telekinesis to all of the main tools we'd be using. Since this speedrun is heavily focused on maxing collections, having the items automatically pick up in our inventories was absolutely crucial for both the efficiency and quality of life of this speedrun. And now that we have finally fully prepared for the rest of this run, the last steps to finishing the speedrun were to complete 3 short grinds until the run was over. The first of the grinds I chose to do was reaching combat 5 from the zombies in the crypts. Combat 5 was essential for the second collection I was going to max out, because without it, I didn't even have access to the blazing fortress and hence access to mining netherrack. Netherrack was the second of the 3 collections I was going to max out in this run, as it's very obtainable early on, considering the only gear that you really need is an efficiency 2 golden pickaxe or better. Needless to say, the zombie grind was going mostly fine until I had a massive lag spike somewhere in between, where I unfortunately ended up dying because I quite literally could not move or even see the zombies that had killed me.
Oh, he's that generous. Exactly, bro, exactly.
Look, I'm gonna die
Bro, I died.
We recovered fairly quickly though, so I picked things up again and continued the grind for Combat 5. While we were at it, I also want to mention Slayers, as I feel like I'll get a lot of comments saying that I should have done tier 1 revs to help speed up the amount of XP I was getting. Doing tier 1 revenants would have been a great idea, only if I had a bat phone and didn't have to run all the way to the bar, claim my quest, start the new quest, and then run all the way back into the graveyard. Previous to this run, I had actually tested on a new profile before I started this run roughly how acquiring Slayer levels was going to work, and from the testing that I did do, I managed to deduce that it just wasn't worth it and sticking to these simple level 1 zombies would be more than enough. Most of the issues that come with actually doing Slayers for combat levels is that it costs money to start the quest, and if I do end up dying, I end up losing a lot of the money that I have on me as well, and overall it was just an absolute pain. Not doing with a bat phone is also really difficult, so we just weren't going to be doing any Slayers for this step in the run. Either way though, I reached Combat 5 with just over 30 minutes on the timer, where I made my way through the Spider's Den to reach the Blazing Fortress. Landing in the Blazing Fortress now, I immediately got started on mining netherrack. This grind arguably was a lot easier than the Combat 5 grind, because all I had to do was hold left click and just not run into dangerous mobs. This was one of the, if not smoothest grinds in this entire run, so rather than just speeding up the footage and giving you guys a 2-second netherrack mining montage, have some netherrack ASMR instead. But after roughly 10 minutes of mining netherrack, we finally maxed the second of the 3 collections in this run, where I warped back to the hub and sold my inventory, and then I headed straight for the Mushroom Desert. The last collection of the speedrun was going to be the Sand collection. Something that I realized when I released my previous Mining 15 speedrun was how quickly I actually maxed out the Sand collection, so I figured I would do the same thing in this run too. Luckily for us, I didn't actually have anybody mining sand in this lobby like in my past speedrun, so it was pretty smooth sailing and I had as much of the desert as I needed entirely to myself. I'm actually not too sure whether I would have considered the Sand collection grind more relaxed than the Netherrack collection grind, but being able to insta-break both materials certainly classed them easier than the rest. Nonetheless, I slowly but surely leveled up my Sand collection one level at a time, and before I knew it, I had maxed it out and the run was finished.
Yo, we got it. Time! Guys. We did it. We did it. I'm professional. I'm actually one of the best players you've ever seen, obviously, because we got all the collections done in 48 minutes. So, that is, Seed maxed, right there. Seeds maxed, and then Sand maxed, and then Netherrack maxed. Now, I know they're the easy collections, but like, come on, man. 3 max collections in under an hour is still pretty cool, you gotta admit. Like, it just looks cool. Even though they're the useless and the easy ones, it still looks cool, you know? Like, see? It just says view, it doesn't say like progress, and nah. It's like, it looks cool, it looks cool. I am proud of that. I am happy with that. This is a very fun speedrun.
Of course, the gameplay is insanely professional. Nah, but in all seriousness, this run came out a lot better than I was expecting. The little intermission that I did have after maxing out the Seed collection came in super clutch, as having all that gear right from the start allowed us to focus on the run itself. I didn't have to take any breaks in between. The final time for this run was 48 minutes, 35 seconds, and 99 hundredths of a second, although that was with extreme lag throughout the entire thing, so it might have been a bit shorter without the ping issues. Regardless, the actual collection grinds were an absolute breeze, and overall, I was really happy with this run. But as we do with all my speedruns, it was time to say goodbye to that profile, where it would forever remain as merely a memory.
We can look at our profile, less than an hour old. We had a pretty fair amount of money. I'd have more if I didn't die to the zombies due to lag. Mining 11, farming 10, combat 5, not bad, honestly. That is not bad at all. But you know, it's about time we leave it with the full iron armor and my insane wealth and net worth, dude. And you know, and it's gone. GG's. thank you all for watching the speedrun.
And with that, that's going to conclude everything that I did have for today's speedrun video. Overall, this speedrun was definitely on the easier side of things and was one of my less challenging runs to date. But that didn't stop it from being one of the more fun ones, as going for 3 different elements in the entire speedrun was definitely a little bit of a change, as normally it's only 1 item, 1 skill, or 1 particular thing. I'm not sure if you did notice it throughout the entirety of the run, but I did have a significant amount of lag throughout the entire thing when I was doing the whole speed run, and I did a ping wars on my island shortly after that, and it turns out I had roughly 430 ping, which if you aren't aware already, that is absolutely terrible. I'm sure if I did record this on a different day and I didn't do it when Hypixel was lagging like crazy, then I'm sure I would have been able to shave off a lot more time and get a quicker speed run, but either way, it was still pretty fun to do. I'm pretty happy with the results anyways. And I don't plan on re-recording this either way. But with all of that being said, that is going to wrap up everything that I did have for today's video. And as always, take care and peace.
Although one thing that I do know is if you're a foreigner in Indonesia, it'd be what do you mean? What do you mean? Bro, Archer double shot throwing. Archer double shot. That was not me. That was not me. I aimed at the right one, and then it shot a second one. Shut up, shut up, shut up.